Welcome to Pause 2-3, where your power is always found in the pause. My name is Jen, and I'm very grateful that you are here. This is a space where you get to slow down, breathe more deeply, and come home to yourself gently, consistently, and without pressure or judgment. Today, we're going to walk through the 7-step dance of the Pause 2-3 journey of becoming who you are meant to be. But please know, these aren't steps you climb like a staircase. They're not rigid or linear or something you master once. I encourage you to think of them like a dance. You'll move forward and drift back. You will revisit steps you once thought you'd outgrown. You'll discover new layers of truth every time you return. There is no failing here, only unfolding. There is no timeline, only your timing. So whatever path you are on, and wherever you are on your path, let this experience be a moment of stillness and clarity, a pause where you reconnect with the truth that always has lived inside you. Let's begin. I've called step 1, recognizing your inner whisper. Your journey begins with a whisper, the quiet, steady voice within you that nudges, pulls, or softens when something is meant for you or is not meant for you. You may feel it as curiosity, a discomfort, restlessness, or perhaps just a gentle knowing that you can't quite explain. This whisper has been speaking to you for years, maybe even your entire life. But somewhere along the way, the world grew loud and you grew busy. Because let's face it, life, society, our environment, it's noisy. And that can oftentimes drown out that whisper. And that whisper was pushed aside. Today, you are remembering how to listen. As you move through life, I invite you to pause and ask yourself this question. What feels true for me in this moment? Again, I'll repeat that question and maybe pause here and take some time to think about this. What feels true for me in this moment? So when you think of something, does it bring you joy? Does it bring you peace? Does it bring you excitement? And I invite you to become curious as to whether it's excitement because it's a good thing and it's you leading yourself to step out of your comfort zone, or is it anxiety? Because oftentimes excitement and anxiety can have the same feeling. And I want you also to think about not what others expect from you, but what truly feels right in your authentic soul. This is where your self-return, this is where you begin to be the authentic, amazing, unique, and beautiful soul that you are meant to be. jumping in now to step 2. And again, remember that this is not linear, so you're not going to do step 1, check a little box and say, okay, that box is all done, we can move on to step 2. You are going to dance back and forth between these steps in different aspects of your life. And in some aspects of your life, you may have a much easier time going from step to step without dancing back and forth. And others you may have to return to often. And that's okay. So step 2, we look at releasing the mask of people pleasing. Okay, people pleasing isn't necessarily a flaw. Perhaps it's been a survival pattern, a way that you perhaps learned to stay safe, or maybe even stay somewhat connected or loved. But here's the kicker. People pleasing disconnects you from yourself. People pleasing disconnects you from yourself. And we are focusing here on this journey of becoming who we are on this journey to be. We are focusing on reconnecting with our true inner self. So in this step, you begin to honor your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Yes, my friends, this may be uncomfortable. This may not seem right. This may not seem quote unquote easy. You are going to be pushed out of your comfort zones. But I encourage you to practice small moments of honesty, taking time to sit with yourself, become aware of what your body is feeling and also what your body is telling you. Okay, so you're going to begin to practice to choose your own energy, to choose things that are right for you, and not just having automatic yeses. So this is about boundaries and putting you first and realizing that oftentimes when you are saying yes to somebody else, what you're ultimately doing is saying no to yourself. Okay, remind yourself, my needs matter. My feelings matter. And I matter. So maybe that's a mantra you want to keep with you. And when times get tough and when you're working at saying no to other people and when you're working at putting you first, simply pause, take a breath, and say out loud or to yourself, I matter. My feelings matter and my needs matter. And I invite you to practice the pause. And what I mean by that is try pausing before decisions. So before you say yes or before you answer a question, take a breath, pause, and before you respond, before you react, ask yourself, is this choice coming from fear of disappointing someone else? Or is it coming from a place that this is what I truly want? So again, ask yourself, is this decision coming from fear of disappointing someone else? Or is it coming from what I truly want? This single question right there, that question, that can shift your entire life. Step number 3, reclaiming your inner truth. Your truth is the deepest part of you. That part that existed long before the world molded you and told you who to be. This step is about returning to that inner compass. It's relying on your own internal GPS. It's about renaming what you feel. It's about looking at what you value and what you want. What truly lights your soul up. What truly feels like your passion in this life. And when you're doing it, you just get in a flow. It just works. You just go and you are having fun and you feel joyful and you feel at peace and you feel excited. So it's about naming what you feel, what you value, and what you want without making your truth smaller or softer so that others might stay comfortable. It is not your job in this life or in this journey to make other people comfortable. What other people feel is up to them. Your job and your purpose for being here is to live your true, authentic life. And when you take time to work at reclaiming your inner truth, you just might uncover some truths that you've ignored. When you take time to pause, when you take time to think about what truly allows you to feel joy, to let that joy inside you shine out, you might discover desires you didn't know you were even allowed to have. Because again, past programming, past experiences, past influences from friends and family and the environment that we're in, all of these things are part of our journey that can either mold us into something that we are not meant to be, or they can help us reclaim our inner truth. Okay? And when you take time to sit, you might remember parts of yourself you haven't met in years. And that might be happy and joyful parts of you, and that might also be parts of you that may be a little more painful and a bit more ick. Either way, they are memories, they are part of your journey that are all contributing to helping you be the strong, brilliant, unique, and amazing soul that you are in this journey. Your truth is sacred and it deserves space. You deserve to take up space. Your truth deserves your attention and it deserves your voice. So for those of us that have been told, in the past, we're not meant to be seen, or your voice doesn't matter, or what you have to say is irrelevant, I don't want to hear it, you're meant to sit and be seen and not heard. All of that is crap, my friends. All of that is crap. And the more you practice and the more you stop and pause and take those breaths like I do in these recordings, that is helping you. Actually, it's helping you move into step 4, which is honoring your emotions and your intuition. Okay, many times we often think that emotions are the enemy, that emotions are bad, that emotions hold us down, that emotions are all of these negative things. Emotions are not the enemy. What if you allowed yourself to look at emotions as messengers? Every one of those emotions that you feel carries wisdom. Okay, your intuition, that gut, that little voice you hear, that desire, that little thing that won't go away. That is the quiet guidance underneath your emotions. The knowing that doesn't need proof. But so often we are fearful of our emotions. We are fearful to sit and allow ourselves to have and to experience these emotions. And sometimes we cling on to them because we just, we bury them, we push them down, we don't let ourselves look at them, and then they stay. But the more we can practice to understand that emotions are messengers, that they are our guidance. So this step is all about you learning to stop pushing your feelings away. Stop pushing your feelings away and begin listening to what they're trying to teach you. What are they trying to teach you? What is this emotion bringing you? So maybe a question that might help yourself as you begin to honor your emotions and begin to actually sit and allow yourself to have emotions without judgment. Maybe ask yourself this question. What emotion is present in me right now? And what might it be trying to communicate? So what emotion is present in me right now? And what might it be trying to communicate to me? And then the second part of that question is, what is my intuition quietly nudging me toward? So when you begin to honor your inner world, clarity, your truth, your passion, your intuition begins to rise naturally, and you allow yourself to hear it and to tap into it more so that you can honor yourself and you can be who you are authentically. One of the biggest things I discovered on this journey to becoming more authentically myself was taking a look at what more means for me, or in this instance for you. So step 5 is about defining what more means for you. So you may feel a pull toward more for a reason, that you know there's more you're meant to do in this life, that there's something out there that you're missing that isn't quite where you're supposed to be. You are not quite where you were supposed to be. But your more probably won't look like anyone else's. It may not be an achievement or a hustle or bigger goals. Your more might be, and this was very much for me, more rest, more spaciousness, more alignment, more peace, more honesty, more joy. Or perhaps if we look at it the other way, if we look at the duality of life and, opposites and more and less, perhaps your more might actually be less pressure, less pretending. What if it's less noise? Remember I said earlier that society and life and our environment is loud, it's noise, it blocks us from hearing our whispers from inside. So this step invites you to define your personal more. Do it gently, do it clearly, do it without a judgment. So in this little step here, I invite you to ask yourself, what do I want to feel more of in my life? What do you want to feel more of in your life? And also the other side of that, perhaps even so the more important side, if I dare say, is what am I ready to feel less of? What are you ready to feel less of? What are you ready to start saying no to? And as you begin to tap into these and ask yourself these questions, I invite you to do it without judgment and with letting your inner words speak freely. No judgment. Okay, no judgment when we do these steps, ever. No judgment in your life. Judgment has no place in our life. Okay, so moving on to step number 6 is we are now looking at being courageous and taking aligned action. So aligned action is not big, and it is not perfect, it is not dramatic. Oftentimes it is just tiny, subtle, little steps or changes or thoughts that feel true to you. So aligned action could be a conversation you've been avoiding, a boundary you're finally ready to hold. Perhaps it's a boundary of saying no instead of saying yes. Perhaps it's a boundary to put yourself first and to take a moment to say no to the kids, to say no to things that don't bring joy out from within you. Perhaps your aligned action is a moment of rest that you choose instead of overworking. Yes, a moment of rest. Sometimes rest is the most productive thing we can give to ourselves. And taking a rest, yes, in fact, that is aligned action. Okay, and rest doesn't always need to be sleeping or laying down or being in bed. Perhaps rest to you is just turning off social media, turning off the TV, going for a walk, picking up a book, sitting in silence, meditating. Whatever rest feels like to you in that moment, that's aligned action. A tiny decision that feels honest, even if it scares you, that's aligned action. Aligned action is being able to feel the fear of doing something new and doing it anyways. Okay, this step teaches you that you don't need to feel confident to begin. You just need to feel willing. And the more times, and yes, you are going to begin over and over again. That's part of the journey. And the more often you begin over again at different things, at the same things, that is how you build your confidence. You don't need to wait to feel confident to begin. You just need to feel willing. You need to know that you are courageous and that you are moving with aligned action to what feels good and right for you. So here's a question that might help you with this step. What is one small step I can take today that supports my truth? So again, what is one small step I can take today that supports my truth? Okay, and that step, yes, it can be a tiny step because tiny steps count. What matters is taking the step. Even if it's a step sideways, even if it's a step that seems a little weird, but it feels right to you, take that little step and celebrate that little step that you took. Celebrate it. Okay, even if it turns out that you have to take different steps because this doesn't feel right in the end after all, that is okay. You took the step and you know that you have it in you to continue taking steps sideways, backwards, forwards. They are all steps that are helping you live your true, authentic life to becoming you. Okay, so remember, even tiny steps count. And here we are with step number 7. And again, this is not a check in the box. I've done step 1, I go on to step 2. This is a beautiful dance in your journey. And step number 7 is living in alignment, not perfection. Okay, it is about becoming comfortable and accepting and loving that you are perfectly imperfect and you are living a perfectly imperfect life as your true authentic self. So this is the final step, but alignment is not about staying perfectly connected to your truth. Instead, it's about returning to yourself again and again and again. It is about choosing you again and again and again. But it's about choosing you gently, lovingly, without judgment, without shame, without guilt. Okay? Do it gently. Do it lovingly. Be kind to yourself as you dance this 7-step journey through life and becoming the authentic, amazing, unique human being who you are meant to be. And yes, you will drift. And yes, You will forget. And life is going to get loud and life is going to get heavy. And that is all okay, because when these things happen, it is in those moments that I want you to remember to pause, to breathe, and that you will come home to yourself again. There is always going to be times where we find ourselves in darkness, where we find ourselves a little bit lost, a little bit unaligned, a little bit energetically checked out. And that is okay. That is part of the journey. So remind yourself, alignment, becoming who you are, your authentic self, it is a practice, not a performance. Okay? This is the dance of your journey. The ebb and flow, and the soft returning over and over again to the brilliant, amazing, unique, authentic being that you were put on this journey to be. And I invite you at the end of each day to ask yourself, did I live a little closer to my truth today? Ask yourself it with a kind heart, with a gentle heart, and with an openness and a curiosity to accept whatever the answer is, because there is no right answer. By asking yourself this question, what you are doing is you are bringing awareness to you, and you are allowing yourself to return home to you, the authentic, amazing, brilliant soul, human being that you are meant to be on this journey. So I'd just like to take a minute to thank you for joining me on this dance through the 7 steps of the Pause 2-3 journey to returning to who you are truly meant to be in this journey. And remember, these steps are not a checklist. They are not goals to perfect or milestones to achieve. They are simply invitations, soft openings, opportunities to be curious to the doorways back to yourself, the self that you entered this world in. We all entered this journey as a sweet, tiny little bundle of baby that had a purpose, that had a passion, that had a knowing of what their life is meant to be. Okay? And then society and so many other influences may have come along and molded us and told us we need to do something different. We need to be more of what society wants. And that is crap. Okay, so as you move forward, you will move through them in spirals, not straight lines. Some weeks you'll linger with one step and you'll feel like you're just standing still. Perhaps that is your opportunity. Perhaps that is your calling to just rest and to be and to practice the pauses. Other weeks, you're going to move through many. And all of it is welcome. So welcome the fast-moving weeks, welcome the slow weeks, welcome the darkness, welcome the times where you are shining bright. Okay, every pause, every whisper, every truth you acknowledge brings you closer to the life that aligns with who you really are. And if today's episode spoke to you, I invite you to share it. Return to it whenever you need grounding, and stay connected for future episodes where we will explore each step even deeper. So there's going to be 7 more episodes that you can listen to that dig deeper into each of the above steps to help you on this dance. So until next time, remember, your power is in the pause, and you are truly an amazing soul. Thank you for your time. Namaste.